Talk Cavaliers. We'll bring in one of our Cavaliers reporters covering LeBron James as well. Joe Vardon joins us. Joe, how are you?
Hey, I'm good. Good to be on.
All right, Joe. Let's get right to it. An interesting post you put up today about LeBron James and coaching his kids and kind of wanting to stay out of the way and let his kids' coaches be their coaches. There's a lot of layers to this: the LeBron layer, the youth sports layer, all of that. Just generally speaking, what do you think about his approach to his kids' young basketball careers?
Well, I do think it's interesting, and just being a dad myself, and I guess being a former athlete with nowhere near the credentials, like it's not even worth discussing. Trying to compare my athletic career to LeBron's, but I find myself, showing my boy how to, swing a bat and throw a ball and working on those kinds of things. And it's interesting to me that LeBron is steering clear of that. Now, we've seen him here at Cleveland Clinic courts, messing around with his boys, playing some basketball. But when it comes to the instruction of the game, they really are leaving it to this Clyde Jackson guy from Houston, which is another interesting story. But you asked me what I thought of it, and the quote that stood out to me the most was from the sports psychologist from Grand Rapids, who said that he likes what LeBron is doing because it separates the kid's level of achievement from his being a father. Like, their success is not tied to his approval. So they don't have to knock down 20-footers for him to approve of his kids. And for somebody who holds the status in basketball that LeBron holds, I could see how that might be an issue. I was also, I keep using the word interested, but when I sat down with Del Curry to talk about how he approached this very same thing with Steph, and it was completely, totally different from how LeBron's doing it. And obviously Steph turned out okay, but, we've been seeing some stories lately come out about the relationship between Del and Steph, and it certainly wasn't bad by any stretch, but there was this day when Steph was 14 years old, and he beat his dad in one-on-one, and his dad couldn't take it. His son didn't handle it right. Steph didn't handle it right, and they never played again. And it kind of it's a little bit indicative of this idea of approval and sort of like almost like your love as a dad being related to how your son's doing in basketball. And so I could see the point there that maybe superstar athletes might want to avoid that at a young age for their kids.
Well, something you said disappointed me, Joe, because I was just about to compare your athletic career to LeBron James, and now you're telling me you can't.
Right. Yes, we would steer clear of that. Although, listen, I mean, 4-time MVP, 2-time champion is akin to being among the top 10 in relief appearances of all time at the College of Worcester in Division III college.
I'm just glad Fedor's not here to talk about his bowling career.
Oh, he actually just walked right by me. If you guys really want,
That's okay.
Joe, staying with LeBron, of course, the other big news from this week was his lifetime contract with Nike. LeBron was very outspoken about it early in his career. He wanted to be a billionaire athlete. This is going to put him on that path for sure.
Oh, I mean, if it doesn't get him there already. I mean, here's the thing. I wrote that the deal was worth at least $600 million and probably more, almost guaranteed more. The way the sources are describing this is we're not going to tell you what it's worth precisely, but look at Kevin Durant's deal, and it's multiple times higher than that. Well, Kevin Durant's deal with Nike was for 10 years. It's roughly $30 million a year, somewhere around $300 million in total, and that's only for a 10-year deal. For LeBron, the per year earning that he's getting on this deal is multiple times higher than what Durant's making. So, he's probably. I mean, I think we could almost be safe in throwing around that billion number for this next deal.
One more question about LeBron before we let you go. His workload. He obviously took that game off in Miami, but aside from that game, in his last 6 here, I looked up, he's played over 35 minutes of those games, again, taking Miami out of the equation. In 3 of those games, he's played 40 or more minutes. Obviously, the Cavs are shorthanded without Kyrie Irving, but should we be concerned about the early workload for LeBron James?
Well, I mean, that's a tough question because you're saying should we be concerned about it, I suppose, just because this was not the plan. The plan was to play him fewer minutes, like 34, which would be a career low by a long shot. Last year's 36 was a career low. They wanted to go lower than that. But, so I guess we should be concerned, but they don't have a choice. And it's going to change once Kyrie and Iman come back, assuming that they, that most of their other starters and stars keep themselves relatively healthy. LeBron's minutes will go down. He probably will get back into that 35 range at some point, but they just don't have a choice right now. They're not playing well as a team. Without him, they'd be in real trouble. I mean, if you look at some of these games, they would have been blown out in New Orleans had he not gone crazy and played those minutes, and they would have lost to Portland the other night without him playing those kind of minutes and scoring those kind of points. So he's in a place right now where he's kind of carrying the team. He didn't have to as much during their 8-game winning streak, but there's just some other things that aren't working for the Cavs right now, so he's got to do this. And I guess the best news is it should end soon.
All right, Joe, we appreciate you taking the time.